Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon, and today we're making a surprise Facebook logo dessert. You have put in so many requests for this in the comments section over the last few weeks since the Instagram one went up that it has hit the top of the request lists already. This one is made from a tropical flavoured cheesecake with a coconut gel for the F and blue tropical flavoured glaze, and it's finished off with some white chocolate butterflies that I've showed you how to make a few weeks ago. For our container today, we're using a tissue box because I thought it would be something that most of you could get your hands on, and you need to cut the top off the box so it just leaves us with a nice rectangle. And then because tissue boxes are really quite flimsy, we're going to support it by adding other boxes around it, but we will line it first. So grab 2 sheets of non-stick baking paper and put one covering the whole of the inside, and then put an extra one going across one way to cover any joins from the first one, and then staple them into place, making sure your staples are going in from the outside, so if any did for any reason happen to fall out, they would be falling out of the dessert, not into it. Now add your support boxes, I'm just using other tissue boxes, and tie them into place firmly with string, so that is supporting the box once the cheesecake mixture goes into it. It's quite heavy, so it's going to push out on those edges, and we want to keep them nice and straight. Print out the Facebook logo in the correct size for your box. We're going to make this logo on its side and then tip it up once it's finished. Now, I'm not doing this to make it confusing, it just makes it easier to make the cake this way. So picture it on the side like this, and that's what we're going for. To start with, we're going to make our cheesecake mixture. Sprinkle your gelatin over the cold water and stir that in, and then set it aside to one side to absorb all the water. And for all the recipe quantities that you need, and for the Facebook logo and the size that we're using, just head over to the website howtocookthat.net. There's a link in the description below the video, and all of the recipe amounts are there in grams and ounces and cups and everything that you need. Place your cream cheese into the bowl of a mixer. I'm using block cream cheese, not the soft tub cream cheese for this. If you can only get the soft one, you may need to increase your gelatin slightly. Chop it up with a knife and then mix it on high speed for a few minutes until it's smooth, and this will be easier if your cream cheese is at room temperature when you start. Add in your sugar and beat that in, scraping down the sides of your bowl a few times as you go, and then add in your blue colour. Now you're always asking what colour I use exactly, so for this one I'm using 1/4 teaspoon of the royal blue gel colour. Next, take your white chocolate and melt it in the microwave or over a double boiler. When melting in the microwave, make sure that you do 30 seconds, then stir it really well. 20 seconds stir and then 10 seconds stirring. Repeat the 10 seconds until it's melted. Then pour it into your cream cheese mixture and whip it through thoroughly. For our fruity tropical flavour, I'm using a mixture of juice from a tin of mango, pineapple and passion fruit. You can just buy tropical juice, but then it tends to be coloured, and that's going to affect our blue colour and turn it a bit green. So I'm just using a mixture from each of the tins. You can use the leftover mango, freeze it and make a mango smoothie. Pineapple, use it on a pizza, and we're basically going to use nearly all of the passion fruit one. Mix that in until it looks glossy and smooth like this. At this point, we're going to split the mixture in half. So use a measuring jug and measure out 750 ml or 3 cups of the mixture and put that in a separate bowl. Cover it in plastic wrap and just leave it at room temperature. Don't put it in the fridge. Have a look at your Facebook logo, and in the tissue box we want to fill it up to the level of the plain base of blue, so just up to the bottom of the letter. So measure that with a ruler and mark it on your tissue box so you know where to fill to. Take 150 ml of your cream. The cream that I'm using is 35% fat, then whip that until you get nice soft peaks. Split your gelatin into 2 halves and heat 1/2 of it in the microwave until it's liquid. Keep an eye on it in the microwave so that it doesn't bubble over. Pour this gelatin over your cream cheese mixture and quickly mix it through, and then gently fold in your whipped cream. We're trying to keep the air and the lightness from the whipped cream, so instead of stirring it, fold it through from the bottom around and over the top. Pour this into the tissue box up to the mark that you've just made, so this is giving our base layer of plain blue that's on the logo. Next, we want to set some cheesecake mixture to the height of the blue that is in between the base layer that we've just done and the next layer of white of the F. And for that, line a container with foil and fill it to the height that you've just measured. You can use another tissue box for this if you don't have a dish, or I'll put the measurements of the dish on the blog for you as well. Place both of those in the fridge for at least 3 hours. You'll have a small amount of the blue cheesecake mixture left over. I want you just to cover that with plastic wrap and leave it at room temperature. Don't put it in the fridge. Now to make the coconut gel for our F. Sprinkle gelatin over cold water just like we did before and set that to one side. In a saucepan, heat your cream, coconut milk and sugar. Remember, all these recipe quantities are on the blog howtocookthat.net. Now this quantities that I'm using gives quite a strong coconut flavour. If you want it more subtle, then increase the cream and decrease the coconut milk, but have the same proportion of liquid in your recipe. Continue to stir until it's hot, then remove it from the heat and add in the gelatin. This will melt into the mixture as you stir it. Take a brownie tin and line it with foil and pour the gel mixture into that. If you allow the foil to overlap the edges, it's going to be easier when it comes to getting it out. Then place that in the fridge to set. That will take about 3 hours. Once it's set, take it out of the tin, straighten up the edges because the brownie tin kind of curves under at the bottom. We want it nice and straight. Then use the template to measure the width that you want to cut your long rectangle. This is the main body of the F. If you warm up your knife, this will give a cleaner cut. You can do that in hot water or using a brûlée torch. Next, we need the 2 bits for either side of the F. I don't know if letters have names for the little bits of them. Anyway, again, use your template to measure this. And now for the tricky part. The new Facebook logo has a slope on the end of one of the arms of the F. So again, using your hot knife, slice a tiny bit off on an angle, just like the corner off the whole way along of one side of your square. Take your cheesecake out of the second dish. And again, using a hot knife, cut 2 long strips in the size shown on the template, and then smooth off the top of the smaller one on one side so it's rounded. Now we're putting in place this blue part here. Again, using a spatula, lift it up and put it into place, then use a knife to push it right up against the edge. Trim the white to the right length, and now add some of the spare cheesecake mixture that you left at room temperature along the base. This helps to glue it into place, but it also fills the gap in the letter that we sloped. Check that your slope is going the right way. If not, just flip it over the other way. You want it to be this way, the way I'm showing you now, with the wider bit towards the right. Then add your final strip of blue and then push that into place, squashing it right down so that it's not too close to the top. Trim your large piece of white to the width of the tissue box. Take some of your scraps and melt it in the microwave and drop some of that liquid along the white to make it stick. I would suggest that you also put some of the unset cheesecake mixture on the blue section here too to help that all stick together as well. Put the coconut gel into place, starting by wrapping it around the blue square and making sure that the base sits snug to the edge of the tissue box. If it's a little bit too big, just trim a tiny sliver off the edge and push it back into place. You want it to sit flat and so that it's connecting with the cheesecake underneath. Then I want you to sacrifice the very end slice of this dessert and cut yourself a little hole so that you can see exactly where to put the top white strip so that it lines up in the right place with the bottom one. Put some more of your liquid coconut gel in a line along and then put your final thin strip on top in line with that bottom one so that it makes the second sticky out bit of your F. Whip your remaining 150 ml of cream to soft peaks and add the spare unset cheesecake mixture to the other half we have of our blue mixture and stir that in well. Melt the second half of your gelatin that we made earlier and pour that in, stirring really well. I recently created a page for How to Cook That on Facebook, so you can follow me there too if you like. You'll find all my social media links in the description below this video. Then fold in your cream just like we did with the first half of the cheesecake. Pour that over the top of your F so that you can fill it right up to the top, and then put that in the fridge to set for at least 3 hours. Optionally, while that's in the fridge, you can make a glaze to go over the top to make it look shiny and smooth. For that, you will need some white chocolate, some tropical juice just like we used in the cheesecake, sweetened condensed milk, sugar, and glucose syrup. And then you can also use some white colouring or blue or whatever colour you want your glaze to be. Sprinkle the gelatin over the water and set it aside. It's nearly my 100th YouTube video. If you have any suggestions of what I should do on the 100th video to celebrate, let me know in the comments below. And put your sugar, sweetened condensed milk, juices and glucose syrup into a pan, and you can use light corn syrup instead of the glucose syrup if you don't have glucose syrup where you are, and then just stir that around until it's hot. Break your chocolate into pieces and add your gelatin and your chocolate into the mixture. Take it off the heat and then just continue to stir it until it's melted. What colour glaze you make, as I said, is optional. I added 1/4 teaspoon of the white and 1/4 teaspoon of blue. You can leave it white, you can make it pink, whatever you would like the outside of yours to look like. Take your cheesecake out of the fridge and open up the box. This should come apart fairly easily. Remove the box and the paper from the base side of the logo. This side should have a stripe of white down it, so you should be able to identify it from the other sides. You need to look for it because we want our F to be the right way up. Make yourself a base out of thick card, just covered in foil, and put it on the base of your cheesecake and tip it the right way up. Next, to glaze it, place it on a couple of cups sitting inside a baking dish or a tray. This is so that it can catch all the drips of glaze that drip down, and you can remelt that and use that another time on another dessert. And peel off the baking paper from all around the edges, and then use a soup ladle to spoon the mixture over the cheesecake, allowing the excess just to drip off. For a smoother coat, place it in the fridge and then repeat the glazing a second time. Put the whole thing in the fridge, and then once it has stopped dripping, use a hot knife to clean around the base. Then very carefully transfer it to your serving platter. A palette knife will make this job much easier for you because you can put it down flat and then slide it out. Add your dainty white chocolate butterflies. To make these, see the tutorial that I made earlier. I'll place a link in the description below the video for you. And then you're ready to serve it to the table and surprise your party goers. Everyone gets the logo on the slice of dessert that they get. Thanks for watching. Click on the How to Cook That banner to go to the channel and check out more of my desserts, cake decorating tutorials and chocolate videos. And you can leave your requests in the comments below. Have a great week. See you next Friday. Bye.